Let's do something a little different today. Let's experiment with herringbone wrap on different sizes and shapes of beads. Herringbone wrapping faceted glass beads to make rings is one of my favorite things to do. It makes some really gorgeous rings. But I'm thinking of using herringbone wrapped beads in a bracelet or as little stations or focal points in a necklace chain. So I wanted to see how it would work to try different kinds of beads. So let's experiment with a rectangular faceted glass bead, a rectangular dyed stone bead, a square painted porcelain bead, and a round cracked glass bead. I'm going to use copper wire for this experiment. So I first cut about a 4-inch length of 24 gauge copper wire, and this is what the bead will be anchored to. And then I cut about 12 inches of 24 gauge wire, and this will be our wrapping wire. I'm bending the wrapping wire fairly tightly, about 2 inches of the way down, to help me wrap it onto the anchor wire. Wrap it around a couple of times and snug it up. Tighten it up, and then cut off the excess. Now, if I were doing this for real, like making an actual piece of jewelry, I'd probably try to be a little neater. Now I'm placing the bead onto the anchor wire and pulling the weaving wire up the side. And then wrapping it around the anchor wire. And I'm going to turn the whole assembly over and pull that weaving wire up next to the other side of the bead. Snug it up tight next to the bead, and then wrap that around the anchor wire just like we did on the other side. I can already tell this is going to give me a hard time, just because the sides of that bead are quite shallow, and it's difficult to get the wire to sit snugly against that bead and lock it in. Yeah, that bead is just going to sit there and spin. The wire just can't get up close enough to the bead to make it sit there. Yeah, fine if you want a spinner, but that's not going to work for us. Yeah, I'm calling this a no-go. So let's move on to the rectangular stone bead. Because the sides of this bead have more depth than that little glass bead did, I think this will work better. So again, I'm cutting roughly 10 inches of 24 gauge wire for our weaving wire, and then about 4 inches for the anchor wire. Same process, wrap the weaving wire around the anchor wire a couple of times and snug it up and trim the excess. Oops, I got confused and fumbled. It happens more often than I'd like to admit. So if that happens, no worries, just put the weaving wire back on the anchor wire and move along. Nothing to see here. Ha! I can already tell this bead is going to be better suited to a herringbone wrap. Those wider sides of the bead make it much easier to keep the wire up tight next to the bead. Now, since this isn't exactly a herringbone wrapping tutorial, I'm going to speed up parts of the video because we're mainly emphasizing experimentation today. Okay, this isn't bad. I can see that if I really take my time and form the wire around that bead a little better, make it a little more symmetrical, it'll make a fun looking bead. Now I'll loop off the ends and wrap it and see how that looks. I can already tell I don't really like that. I mean, it's okay. It's just, it's a little bulkier looking finish than I'm after. I want a little more delicate looking finish than that wrap all the way around under that loop. It's okay. It has potential. I'll do something different on the next bead to finish it off. Okay. Not bad. Now, let's try the next bead, which is the square painted porcelain bead. I'm going to use 22 gauge wire for the anchor wire this time, since this bead is a little heftier and it has a larger center hole. It's going to be the same process. This is going to be so pretty. Those wide sides on that square bead give the wire plenty of surface to snuggle up next to. Oh, it's so easy, so fun. On this one I looped off one end and wrapped it, but I'm not wild about it because I think that 22 gauge wire again makes it too bulky for the more delicate look I'm going for. So I looped off the other end in just a simple loop that can be opened to slip onto a chain link or a jump ring. And now for the final bead, which is an 8mm round crackled glass bead. Now I know this one will quote herringbone, unquote, if I can use herringbone as a verb, but I also know it will be a challenge for me because smooth glass beads are hard to tame. I'm using 22 gauge wire again as an anchor wire, and again the 24 gauge as the weaving wire. When you're using a smooth bead, you really have to squeeze and hold that weaving wire up against the bead firmly as you make those wraps. And since there are no facets and no texture to the bead, it wants to slip and slide. So you just have to take your time and make adjustments as needed. Another thing I like about herringbone wrapped beads is that you can really customize the look by adding many wraps or just a few wraps, or by flanking your focal bead with a couple of smaller accent beads. Would you like to see that in a future video? Let me know. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. So pretty. I'm really liking the color of the copper wire with this particular bead. That bead has some clear and teal and copper colors in it. Now for this one also, I made two simple loops at the ends so that it can be easily placed onto a chain link or a jump ring. here's what all 4 of our experiments look like. I really wish that delicate little rectangular glass bead had worked, but it just wasn't worth the effort of trying to finish it. Which one is your favorite? Is this something that you'll try in one of your upcoming jewelry pieces? Or maybe you already have. Drop a comment, and you can also go to the community tab and post a picture of your herringbone wrapped beads. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And I'll see you again soon.